It can be very challenging. Now it's getting a little better because I feel like some designers are starting to pick up on it and realize there's more than one skin tone that's considered nude. My nude is not your nude. When I'm naked, I don't look that way, you know? So, so in the beginning, it was almost like it was tone deaf. We would go shopping and it would be a bride, my complexion, and she would put on a dress with the skin, the nude, and I'm looking at the salesperson like, does that look right to you?
Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. We are so excited. We have an amazing double header today. First up, we have Selina. So Selina Howard, on Instagram, she has two different accounts. So one is for, hey there, Yessie. One is for her styling, which is Vainglorious Brides. And then the other is Shop Vainglorious, and that's her store that she has in Atlanta. Hey, Chrissy, how are you doing? We are so excited tonight to really to talk a lot about everything that's been going on, but specifically within bridal fashion. And I think that it's definitely something that hasn't been discussed a lot. And I think it's important that we talk about representation and diversity, and also what it means to be a really good ally when it comes to bridal fashion. Just in general. So Selina had originally been scheduled for last week, and unfortunately she wasn't able to join due to some scheduling conflicts, but she's going to be joining us in just a second here. And let me see if I can grab her. Okay, give me 1 second. Hey, yeah, we're so excited that she's going to be here talking. So Selina has done a lot of different styling. One of the things that she has done that she did, recently, is she was with our Bridal Masterclass experience in New York. And then her shop donated dresses for our Atlanta location. So, okay. And so Bridal Fashion Week in New York last fall, she also hosted Lea de Gloria for a lot of the designs that Lea had made, but also that she carries in her store. I'm not in Atlanta. Selina, there she is. Selina, hold on here. Why is this not coming up? Selina, can you request to join? For some reason, it's not giving me an option to add you. There we go. So she has a shop in Atlanta. We did our Bridal Masterclass experience in Atlanta. It was our second location.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me turn my camera around. I was like, it's not working. Well, I forgot to take my hair down, guys. Hi, everybody. Wait, hold on. Let me get cute for y'all right on camera. I forgot to take my hair down. There we go. There she is. She's alive.
I love your hair.
She's alive. Hi.
How are you?
How are you? I'm well. I'm sorry about last week.
Oh my
girl.
I didn't want to. Not my news to tell. So why don't you tell everyone?
That I bought a bike and decided to take it for a spin, and the brakes weren't tightened, and I went down a hill and went to go through an intersection and couldn't stop, so I turned into a car in order to keep myself from going into the intersection with oncoming cars, and I hit a parked car. So I mean, I'm fine. I banged my knees up a bit, but whew. That was a rough one.
I'm gonna grab a tissue. I'm glad that you're okay, because I was like, are you okay? That's just really.
I'm fine. I'm ready to get back on. I put the bike in the shop, so we'll be getting the brakes fixed and everything. So, yeah.
Well, good. So for people who don't know, I was saying how you have a store in Atlanta and then
Yes.
you do stuff and telling them about how last Bridal Fashion Week you had hosted something for Leah DeGloria, kind of showcasing
Yes.
her different gowns. And so one of the things that I think is important as everyone continues this conversation about diversity
Mhm.
representation, um, specifically in bridal fashion, can be a challenge.
Mhm.
And so, what were some of the driving factors that really caused you to one open up shop and also in terms of styling, work work with?
Megan, you're kind of going in and out.
Oh no,
Yeah, you were going in and out a bit. I kind of missed the whole. I mean, I heard you. I think you said something about Leah's bridal fashion week.
yeah. So, what kind of gave you the idea to host that?
Well, that was Leah's presentation. That was her actual bridal fashion week presentation where she invited her media. Leah hasn't been one of those designers that has been exclusive. She's been totally inclusive from the beginning, even though she's in Australia and it kind of looks different there than it does here, and they don't quite you know, they're not, it's kind of indirect as to what's going on here. And I kind of have to bring her up to speed and explain to her a lot of things of what's going on. But from the very beginning, since I've met her, she's always been inclusive in terms of, skin tone, body size. I've never had those issues with her. So when she decided to do a presentation in Bridal Week, she invited me to speak and to kind of have a voice there, which was refreshing because that comes from not even getting seats at most of the designers that that the stores carry that I frequent a lot and bring my brides to. We're going in there, we're in there. Some stores I'm in there every week, and then it's time for your fashion show, and you know exactly who I am from management, all the way down. They know who I am, and to not even have a seat or be acknowledged for indirectly, constantly bringing brides in. And that's just happened throughout my whole experience. And it's not just me. Black bridal publications, it's not too many of them, wouldn't even get seats. So I'm like, PR, you don't even do your due diligence to see and make sure that there's a diverse group of media representatives on the front row when we buy these dresses. So yeah, that's kind of like how that went with Leah. So I was able to like kind of, add my 2 cents in and have a little platform. So I was really grateful to her for inviting me and allowing me to do that.
So, what are some of the challenges? Now you have the shop, but you also style brides. So, what are some that when you work with brides of color to be able
Hmm.
to find the right designers, the right gown? What are some of those frustration points that you run into?
It can be very challenging. Now it's getting a little better because I feel like some designers are starting to pick up on it and realize there's more than one skin tone that's considered nude. My nude is not your nude. When I'm naked, I don't look that way, So, so in the beginning, it was almost like it was tone deaf. We would go shopping, and it would be a bride, my complexion, and she would put on a dress with the nude, and I'm looking at the salesperson like,
Not
does that look right to you? That's not the right color. No, it works. It works. I said, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It works. And sometimes there would be like, a tug and pull. Some stores get it, and it's to the point now where I have my own nude that I take with me. So if I need for my brides to switch out that little piece in the front,
yep,
I'll bring my own piece. And I say, we're going to switch my piece.
right.
I've been replacing cups. I take the cups out because if you're my complexion and you have the lighter nude cup, what do you see?
Right.
When you take pictures, it's beige, like a beige cup. So, we would have to do that, and I would bring my own cups and just kind of make sure that our girls are covered because they don't have options. And if I wasn't there advocating for that particular bride and she went and bought a dress, I'm sure there are plenty other brides that come without a stylist or without me, and they don't really know. So I pay attention to it, and I tell my clients I don't like the way that looks. We're gonna change that. And
Right.
usually the store does it, but I don't understand how, even, and it's more of the designers too. The designers should offer these options.
Right.
They should offer the options. You have girls of all skin tones purchasing your stuff. You should offer the options. Unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of, black owned bridal salons throughout the United States. So majority of our girls do shop in other stores, but they're not being taken care of properly. And I'm hoping that that's going to change in the future.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what designers do you find to be the most, I guess, flexible to their designs or accommodating as far as being able to, whether it's switch out if it's a cup, like, are there any designers or do you have to always?
Well, it's the store, really.
Okay.
Oh, most of the stores that I work with, they'll do it because they know, and they work with me a lot. Like, and I go to certain places. I usually request the same seamstress. So because that seamstress will know exactly what it is I'm asking for, and what it is that I do. But so they'll do it. A lot of designers will send the dress as is, and it's up to the store to do it. You do have designers who are starting to offer those options. If you're in Brooklyn, Pantora has the nude, different shades of nude, where she has a range. My store with Leah has always, from the very beginning, back in 2016, I believe, when we first started working with her, her and I, worked together to come up with the perfect illusion nude for girls my skin tone or brown skin tone. So we've been doing that ever since. So, but for the most part, it's really the stores that have been making the changes, but I think that, more responsibility should be put on the designers to offer those options. So the stores can do whatever they can do, but the designers should offer. If you're offering nude, you should have different types of nude. If you're calling it nude, what is nude? It's kind of like Band-Aids. Band-Aids were made for one skin tone.
Right.
Up until like 3 years ago, I found a black-owned bandage company, and that's what I've been buying. And I get Band-Aids that match my skin.
Right.
And now, because everything is going on, now you have Band-Aid released a collection. But I'm going to continue to support the black-owned business because I'm not going to put them out of business. I just think that, Band-Aid is going to always do well. But, nevertheless, yeah, these are just things that I think stores can do, and also designers. It should be more of the designers that should take the responsibility to think, especially if you see people wearing your dresses,
Well, and there's some aspects of the dress that I'm sure it can be changed or altered, but there's some things that it's really hard without changing the integrity of the design.
Of the dress, exactly.
So if the designers aren't offering it, it makes it much more difficult.
It's difficult sometimes, yes, for the stores to be able to even do that. I mean, luckily I haven't run into anything. And like at first, sometimes when they say no, and I say yeah, they say no, I say yeah, and the bride's like, I don't want it, I want it. And then they're like, okay, we'll try. And then once they do it once, then they have no problem with doing it again,
Right.
So that's pretty much, that's been my experience in terms of working with stores. Those are for my styling clients, because my styling clients, I do shop other stores besides the one that I own in Atlanta. So for my styling clients, I have to advocate in terms of, skin tone,
Right.
and even, body size and all of that, just making sure they have samples, or they're showing my clients dresses that complement and that situate their figures.
Right.
But in my store, we offer those options. So
Bridal Babe says, thank you. So, and she had mentioned,
bridalways.co.
yeah, and she had mentioned also that I'm going to look back in the DMV, the bridal room VA is black owned. And I think
Yes.
those are things, I mean, obviously, make a big difference, because if the store owner isn't aware of, understanding different dudes, I mean, that's not
Right.
the occurrence for them to, that's a frustration. It's not necessarily going to be at the core of their mind, but really
Mm-hmm.
of different people's experiences and understand how you better serve.
Right.
That's, I mean, we talk about ideal client all the time, understanding that if you want to serve Black patrons in your store,
Mm-hmm.
then you need, because if you're not, they're in.
Right, exactly. The thing of it is, like within the wedding industry, um, you know, we have our own community, we have our own publications, and that are willing to feature us, and that have been advocating for us and platforms for us. That's within the wedding industry as a whole. But the bridal fashion industry is a whole. It's almost like its whole entity in itself, and it's not as diverse as the wedding industry as a whole. So you have, if you look at the majority of bridal store owners, I think it's like 90% probably, white women may own bridal stores. 85, it's majority, that's the majority of it. You look at the designers. It reflects when you go to in bridal market. When you go to bridal market and you see all the models on the runway, lately in the last couple of years, they may, throw one in there, but it's almost like a token.
Right.
Sometimes it's like they'll have like, one model as a token. It's not like, it's just not diverse. It's not as diverse as it should be, and the models don't always represent the people who buy the dresses,
Right.
So, it's the bridal fashion industry as a whole is not as diverse. We just had a talk yesterday with a group of, Black bridal designers, because if you go into stores, you don't see a lot of stores carrying, designs by Black designers as well. And a lot of Black women shop those stores, but you don't have any, Black designers in there. So, I just wanted to reach out and kind of talk to some of them and see what they wanted to do. Do you want to be in stores? So hopefully, in the next year or so, we'll start to see more Black designers in stores. So that would be a great thing.
That'd be awesome. So tell me
Hmm.
who the Black designers are that you really love their design.
Well, you have Pantera Bridal, of course. There's Jean Ralph, who is out of New Jersey. Um, you have, I always pronounce her name wrong. She's out of Dallas. S SNS bar. I know I'm not probably not doing it correctly. But I think people who are watching it, you know who I'm talking about. Um, Her designs are really, really good. You have Amsala, of course. Mark Ingram actually released his own collection this past spring, right before, I think like back in February or January. I watched a preview of his collection right before we got locked down. So I'm really looking forward to seeing, how well his collection does. He's a staple in the industry, so that's really good to know that he has a line.
That's
Hmm.
good. And you're right in terms of, whether it's the runway designs themselves and
Hmm.
how they're really representing the brides that are going to be wearing the gowns. If
Hmm.
itself isn't able to represent the,
Hmm.
kind of the diversity, then
Right.
the stores are able to divert. They're not. So I
Hmm.
think you're right. Like it goes to making sure there's accountability for designers to offer.
Hmm.
You know, I mean,
Right.
something as simple as like the different colors too. That's like really.
Hmm.
Bridal Babe says,
She said I had to look up the spelling too. Yes, that's it. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Yes. Yep.
so,
So it's a little bit of everybody. Like everybody has a part to play. Um, so that things are just more diverse and people can just see themselves represented, especially if they're spending money. And bridal gowns aren't cheap, you know?
no.
So, mm-hmm.
And I think the
Yep.
other aren't even, I mean, one, the gown is, and then two, when you have to do all of the alterations, depending on
Mm-hmm.
you have to alter,
Mm-hmm.
it's insane. It can be
It's
really, really.
insane.
And so,
Right, right.
and when you think about, whether it's having someone who knows more, like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
obviously there's one of you. Um,
Right.
so, so when you have the multitude of women who are going on their wedding dress shop.
Mm-hmm.
So the frustrations that they do then, when you think of like all of, I mean, illusion is like that's a trend. So
Mm-hmm.
when you think about an entire group, entire race of women who are going dress, if they're not can really understand what and can't do, you know,
Mm-hmm.
understand the cups and doing, they're kind of out of point. Then like
Right, right.
the whole option pool is like not left. So
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
that I think a lot of people even think about, you know, in terms of like how are they able to serve, you know, Black brides, because
Right, right.
those are things that should be important in terms
Very important.
in terms of kind of like what obviously what bridal shops can do kind of to help, whether it's, you know, to bring in more bridal or to serve them.
Mm-hmm.
Are there certain things, color cups, for a lot of the like the it's kind of like the netting or the things like that,
Mm-hmm.
those are those things you can even switch out or not really?
I've done it before. Like I've had bridal stores. Like I'm always switching something out. You know, especially if it doesn't look right. And I always think that what's the end game in mind? How is this gonna look? You know, in the broad daylight when the photographer starts snapping, or when you have, you know, a evening wedding and he clicks that flash.
Right.
And what is the flashback going to give us? The flashback is going to give us a whole nother nude that's, you know, the opposite color, or the flashback is going to give us this cup that's just like not matching, you know, it's not matching up, you know. So if I feel like that's what I'm going to see, then we're going to go in and try to figure out how to change it. I try to ask before, you know, we commit to a gown, because if the store is not flexible, I don't really even deal with stores who are not flexible. So I don't, you know, I wouldn't even go there. Most of the stores, you know, for the most part that we go to are flexible with changes and, you know, making sure the bride is okay. But some of this stuff should be standard
Right.
for,
Well,
you know, or it should be an option straight off, you know. You know, we see, you know, we have an option for another complexion, you know. So I'm just hoping that in the near future we do see more of that.
yeah, no, I think
Hmm.
so. And again, I love what you had to say about the fact that even with the flashback, so like
Hmm.
as a photographer, if you don't know what
Hmm.
essentially what type of gown your bride is wearing, you have a
Right.
Black bride, understand
Hmm.
depending on how you're positioning your flash,
Hmm.
digital, like what your set, like those things matter because
Right. Right. Right.
it can be, you know, essentially not what you or the couple really wants to see.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
for like brides are go dress shopping without a stylist, what are
Hmm.
they should be asking, you know, stores when they go? Obviously, the first thing they want to try on get see what they like.
Right. Right.
What should they do to be prepared? Like what are
Um, I feel like they should just make sure that, you know, whatever it is that they're buying looks good on them. Whatever that may look like, it may look different, you know, for different people. But, you know, just make sure whatever it is that you're buying looks good on you and complements your body, you know, your body type, your body size, and your complexion. And make sure that the store is willing to accommodate you and whatever that may be to get your dress to that point. If it doesn't, you know, if they're not willing to make those changes or accommodations, then I would reconsider purchasing the dress there.
yeah? And a
Hmm.
lot there's some designers that if you're not like in their area where they are sold kind
Hmm.
of personally, that you can purchase
Hmm.
either online or like other options.
Hmm. Hmm.
So like things
Yep.
to do. And then in terms of like kind of styling those, what are some of things that, you know, I mean, are there certain, whether it's like undergarment companies that have a really of nudes and skin tones for undergarments that, you know,
Usually brides will have to find their own undergarments if you want them, and a lot of undergarments don't come in the skin tones. It's starting to get more popular now. Like you have Kim Kardashian with her Skims and stuff like that. So hopefully that's a whole nother industry that that needs to be, there needs to be some diversity in the options in terms of undergarments. But there are different things that I do for my clients and reveal all my secrets. Now you have to hire me. But but there are some things that I do for my clients in terms of undergarments to make sure that that the undergarments are, cohesive with the dress and all of that. But yeah, that's a whole nother industry that needs to be more diverse. The undergarment industry.
Yeah. And
it's still like the same. It's the nude. Like I looked up and I found I found a nude bra. But it's not always easy. It's not always easy.
And so what do you think some of the solutions should be to kind of incorporate more diversity?
I'm sorry, I didn't. You were cutting out again.
So sorry. What are some of the things that you think should be done to incorporate diversity and representation?
More diversity. I didn't hear the last part.
And representation.
Oh, more diversity and representation. Well, I mean, it can be done in marketing, whether it be the stores or the designers. Just considering the different complexions when you're designing, considering that everybody is not the same nude, that's good. Depending upon what you offer in terms of size, there can be size diversity, offering dresses because women, larger than a size 10 buy couture as well. But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But I feel like people know what to do to be more diverse. They just haven't been doing it. They just haven't been doing it. It's just not, it hasn't been, it hasn't been top of mind or it hasn't been priority. So, I'm hoping now that it's a priority because so that what you do reflects the world we live in.
Right. And it's the same thing people always, that we're always saying, if you're not projecting that which you want to attract, why would the client ever want to come or store and they want to hire you any day? I mean, we had a conversation before in terms of with photographers and photographing black skin, same as photographing white skin, of whether it's
not the same
like that. Really, those are things that if you want to attract a diverse,
right?
Do that for work.
Yep. Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Remind me, do you do planning as well or just styling?
Oh, just styling. No planning. Okay. Yep. Just styling, no planning. I used to years ago when I first started, but Yep.
Awesome. And so, because is New Jersey starting to open up?
We started last week.
Okay.
Last week was phase 1. I think phase 2 will be next week or something like that. But yeah, they started, but slowly but surely opening up. I've been off quarantine. I've been off quarantine, okay? I haven't been on quarantine since March. I stayed in the house. I've been off. So I'm opened up.
Sure.
That's all I can say.
And what are some of the things that you differently being opened up now? Masks, things like that. Are you having clients sign waivers or face shields or gloves or anything that you're doing this?
Well, in terms of our store, we only have one client at a time anyway. Okay. So we have one client at a time. We don't have any other brides, and the bride is only allowed to bring one other person, where we used to allow 3. So now they can bring one other person to their fittings, and we cleanse in between clients really well. wipe everything down, sage. I'm into the whole sage thing, so I believe that that kills everything. So we smoke the whole place out, and just reset the energy and get rid of all of the bacteria and any viruses that are in the air. And then the bride is welcome to. She wants to wear a mask. She can wear a mask. It depends on how she feels and her comfort level. And her guests can wear a mask, and that's what we do.
That's awesome. And so is
Mhm.
it different in terms of like if it's New Jersey versus in Atlanta? Are there different requirements than for what you have to do as a business or
Wait, I didn't hear you.
for the reopening for styling?
Mhm.
Because you do Atlanta as well as Jersey, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you have to do different things for your
Well,
second?
for the styling, most of our weddings were canceled this year,
Okay.
so we'll postpone till next year. So we're not really doing any weddings right now. Fittings haven't resumed yet because the stores, most of the bridal salons, are not a part of phase one or phase two. I think maybe later. I think some of them opened up, but we haven't resumed any fittings yet. So most of what we've been doing with our styling clients has been virtual.
Okay.
We don't really have. I think we're going to start fittings again maybe next month, maybe August.
Okay.
Maybe August, but yeah.
Good deal.
And I'm thinking stores are just taking whatever precautions. I think they have to take certain precautions. So whatever, rules apply to the store, we'll just follow whatever that protocol is.
Right.
Hmm?
Good.
Yeah.
And what do you think is going to happen with Bridal Fashion Week? I think it's going to go, or do you?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to even happen. We'll see if it's postponed. I know the designers weren't even able to release last season's collection, so we'll see if this season, we're able to do something in the fall. If not, we may not be able to do anything again until next spring.
Right. Well, did you
So,
you watch any of the? You said you watched Mark Ingram's the virtual presentations.
mhm. It wasn't during market though. It was another event. It was like in February or something. Yeah. It was
Okay.
like a private event with a different.
Did you watch
Yep,
any
it was a private.
presentation or the presentations? I think there were a few designers that did.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't. Mm-mm. I wanted to, but I just didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like it because it was like the height of everything,
Yeah.
and it was just a lot going on, and just focusing in on making sure the elderly people in my family were squared away and everything, because I didn't want anyone to have to go to the hospital. So I was more focused on that stuff
Yeah.
than the actual what was going on in those virtual shows. I do know a couple of designers did do them, but no, I didn't. I didn't attend any of them.
And is everyone
hmm
in your family, are they all doing okay?
Everyone's doing well.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone's doing well. Absolutely. Yep. We're keeping our immune systems up, and taking our vitamins and herbs and doing all of that just in case there's a second wave. Um, because that's what I believe. You just have to build your immune system up to be able to fight whatever comes off.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
that's it.
good, good.
hmm
Well, thanks so much for I love
Yes.
and it was so great when we had you in New York styling. Seriously,
Yes.
it's watching Selena do it, it's like just turning and this goes right.
Just trying to figure it all out and put it all together.
I love it.
Yes. Now, did the tour had to come to a halt because of, yes. How many more stops did you have?
Well, our last push show, and that was March 2011, which was
Mm-hmm.
like the end of right before.
Wow.
So we had to cancel London, we had to cancel
Mm.
DC, we had to cancel LA.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, right now a lot to do with with Europe in particular. Nobody knows yet
Mm-hmm.
when their border to people out. I mean, obviously even Europe. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly how we're gonna do. Possibly next March, but we'll see.
Right. Right.
Depending on how things go. it's really risky when you're
Mm-hmm.
bring, you know, whether it's bridal
Right. Yeah.
for the bridal masterclass, there's so many factors. The last thing I would ever want is provide an opportunity for people to get sick.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
that would be horrible.
That
So,
would be horrible. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, so we'll see. It's going to be kind of hard for people who are having like, events and stuff like that because people want to pay to go and then you're like, oh.
yeah,
So, yeah, we'll
yeah.
see. I think we'll be fine next year.
Well, I'm gonna have to go
Yep.
get Sage. I like your recommendation for Sage.
Yes. Oh, yes. Sage is antiviral and it's antibacterial. So
I love
you
it.
can pretty much, yep, you can pretty much smoke out the whole room. Frankincense is good too.
Okay.
Frankincense is antiviral. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's what I don't spray like Lysol and stuff like that, 'cause the chemicals, but all natural.
Awesome. I love it.
All natural. Yep.
So much for
Well,
joining.
thank you for having me, Megan. I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you for always thinking of us.
I honestly like it's there's so much. I mean that everything's going on right now, and
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that
Right.
I love doing is kind of connecting with everyone. Also having conversations is
Right.
important for people to
Mm-hmm.
know, you know, all these different perspectives of what's going on and
Mm-hmm.
how even subsets of the wedding we are dealing with things.
Right. Right.
You know, knowledge power. So it really help to provide a platform for people to have better conversations and get more knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want to do. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah,
Yep.
thank you so much again.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'll be watching for your
Yes,
next interview.
yes, yes,
Keep up with what you're doing.
yes. We have
Okay.
graphics tonight, and
Oh, wow.
yep. So he's going to be talking about the unity through community.
Okay.
Yes, that movement. So
Okay.
I'm really excited, and please tell your family hello. Please.
Okay. Thank you. You too. Enjoy the rest of the week.
Thanks, you too.